The day Mom died, my mother-in-law disliked me as a woman who was a kleptomaniac and wanted to get rid of me. My husband kept me in the dark in the small house my mom left behind. Who would have guessed that the $30 million passbook my mom gave me would be discovered by my mother-in-law and husband? After they get the money, they let loose and get away with it, but not to me, who was still in the little house. But to my surprise, the next day, the heat apocalypse descended and all power systems were paralyzed. I begged my husband to save my life. He kicked me aside and I was sunburned alive. As soon as I opened my eyes, I was back at my mom's hospital bedside. In this life, I'm going to keep the money my mom left me and watch them die one by one. Ching, Mom's leaving. In a daze, I heard my mom's voice in my ears once again. My whole body shook, and I couldn't help but feel pain in my body. That's the fear that the high-temperature end times of my last life left in my heart. I took a long, slow moment before my eyes coalesced on my mom in the hospital bed beside me. Mom, Mom, I cried out in pain. I never thought I would see my mom again in my lifetime. It was at this moment that I realized that I was born again. I was reborn to the day my mom died. I held my mom's hand tightly and said helplessly, "Mom, don't go." Mom looked at me gently and smiled. "Silly boy. People have to go." She took out a small book from the drawer beside her. "Ching ching, this is your father's compensation for that accident back then, and now finally your father is considered to be rehabilitated, and I have the face to go see him." Mom's hand fell in the moment, and I closed my eyes, knowing that Mom was gone. Mom has been running for Dad's lawsuit for many years, ever since he passed away due to an accident. Now, it's hard to sink the case, but she's gone. I clutched the passbook in my hand and put it in my pocket. I remember, in my last life, it was at this time that my husband, Chen Sihu, happened to see the passbook. Bang bang bang, I heard a knock on the door behind me, and immediately afterward, Chen Sihu walked in. "Damn pussy, I had to come and go. How's it going, dead or not?" My eyes were cold. "Just left. Go home with me if you're dead. What are you dawdling here for? Go back on your own," I said with a little bit of harshness in my words. In my last life, I didn't know that the disaster would come so suddenly that I wouldn't even have time to bury my mom. In this life, I want to put my mom in the ground first. What the fuck are you doing? If you don't go back, what's gonna happen to the whole family? None of my business, I said back. With that, I went out to the doctor to find out about the burial process. With $30 million in hand, I bought the best coffin for my mom and chose the best time to send her on her last journey. But all this, I dare not let Chen Sihu know. Once he knew that I actually had the money to pay for my mom's burial, he must have guessed that she had left me a large sum of money. I didn't get home until everything was taken care of. Looking at the two cross-legged Buddhas in my house, I was quite cold. "Damn bitch. You finally know how to come back." Chen Sihu grabbed a handful of melon peels and threw them at me. When my mother-in-law saw me come back, the mop in her hand was thrown directly at me. "Why don't you get lost and go mop the floor? I've been exhausted for the past 2 days." I took the mop. I wasn't ready for everything right now. I couldn't flip out on them yet. I could hear my mother-in-law sputtering as I mopped the floor. "What the hell kind of weather is this? Why is it getting hotter?" I had a sneer in my heart. The end times are coming, can't get any hotter. It was the most extreme weather since global warming, though it didn't last long overall, ending in about a month, but the whole world is above 70 degrees Celsius. Whenever anything is outside, it's almost always straight up jerky, too, especially with the paralyzed power supply system brought on by extreme weather. Without air conditioning, you can die faster in a closed room. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a sanctuary for myself. In fact, nowadays, I have $30 million in my hand and it is almost easy to build a shelter in some better locations. But, for me, I would prefer that this one room that bears my life is the old, broken-down house where my mom and I have been dependent on each other for more than a decade. I took the excuse of grocery shopping and withdrew $1 million from my passbook and deposited it on my card. Next, I needed to find a remodeler who could help me put together a room that was heat and build resistant. After searching for quite a while, I finally settled on the most expensive one. Once upon a time, I always had to live with my mom stretched thin. Even just a garlic or an onion had to be measured slowly. After marrying Chin Sihu, I became the yellow face of his family, and had to help him every day to plan a penny. But now, there's no need. I can safely go for the most expensive stuff. Cheap stuff is not necessarily of bad quality, but expensive stuff is definitely not of bad quality. It's a room where my life depends on it. I don't care if it costs more. I took the decorator to my little bungalow with my mom. It's a small bungalow in the suburbs, and hardly anyone comes to this part of town to dabble. Hello, please help me to renovate the whole house. I don't need much. It must be heat resistant, and all the electric circuits must be heat resistant, so that the outside temperature can't come in. Don't worry, ma'am, I'll make sure you get a space class room. Guaranteed that even if a volcano erupts outside, you won't feel a thing inside. Only, this money is not a problem, but I need you to be quick enough to install it, preferably within 2 to 3 days, and remember to vacuum up the formaldehyde as well. By then, your money will only be more, not less, I explained to the decorator, looking at the bits and pieces here and there. My mind always goes to my mom. Don't worry, Mom, I'll protect myself this time, I muttered. A few tears about to fall. I didn't get home with my groceries until almost dusk. Before I could take off my shoes, my mother-in-law was scolding me. You bitch, where have you been fooling around? You can't buy groceries for half a day. I pushed my mother-in-law's hand away. Granny, it happens to be a sale today. I bought too much food to carry. My mother-in-law cursed at my words. Demon show. Are you going to eat like a pig? How long are you going to keep buying so many vegetables? I scoffed inwardly. This was a dish I had bought just for them. Same thing. They all break easily with heat. I'm not afraid they'll run out of food in a couple days when the heat end times come. But, by then, the rancid stuff, they should be able to eat it. The next day, driven by money, the decorator told me that night that it was done. As soon as I heard that, I got right up early on the third morning and made another trip to the grocery store. In order to be able to live in it for a better month, I need to prepare more things. At least I need to stock up on a few 100 pounds of vegetables and meat. Even if I can't eat it all, I can still help some of the refugees when the time comes in case they get extorted by unscrupulous merchants. On top of that, I need to have a couple of extra large refrigerators on hand or these will have to go bad. I went ahead and ordered another generator to avoid a power outage when the time came. Even though the money was spent in one lump sum, I still felt great. I didn't realize it was such a great feeling to spend as much as you want. After acquiring my current needs, I looked and saw that I still had over $25 million. With that much money in the bank, I could eat off the interest for the rest of my life. I plan, however, to get a couple of plots now. There's no point in buying a house now. And those that aren't forbidden to be built will have to be scrapped after this disaster. Instead, the land is still there and still mine. No matter what. Before I went home, I put all the title deeds I had just purchased in the house I had just renovated. After all, once Chen Sihu sees it, everything I've done will be for nothing. By the time I got home, the house was surprisingly unusually busy. It's Jingjing Lu from upstairs. Jing Jing, look at your ass, it's so big. It looks like it's good to be born. I had just pushed my way in when I heard my mother-in-law say this. My mother-in-law's face changed when she saw me come back. Damn bitch, where have you been fooling around? You're back at this hour. Are you going to cook or not? A fire came up in me as I listened to my mother-in-law's accusations. I grinned wide and looked over at my mother-in-law. Of course I'm not cooking it. When my mother-in-law heard what I said, she was so angry that she went straight to oxygen deprivation. When Chen Sihu saw the situation over here, he rushed over, looked at me angrily, and slapped me without a word. The slaps were crisp and I think they must have raised red marks on my face. Do you think I'm easy to bully? Snap. I slapped Chen Sihu back, making his eyes water a bit. Being slapped by me, Chen Sihu looked at me almost incredulously. You bitch. How dare you hit me? I'm your god. I ignored him and just went to my room on my own. You bitch, I'm talking to you. Can't you hear me? Believe it or not, I'll kick you out. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to find a step, but now, Chen Sihu himself gave me a step. Then I'll be out of your hair. I dragged down my suitcase and packed my bags. Brother, why is sister packing? Is it because I'm here and sis is upset? Lu Jingjing shamelessly walked into the room, enchantingly leaning on the door frame and making a head-scratching pose, but a lecher like Chen Sihu ate it up. He walked up and pinched Lu Jingjing's ass. Leave that bitch alone and let her go on with her madness. Chen Sihu took Lu Jingjing's hand and walked to the restaurant, feeding you one bite at a time. I looked at them and was sick to my stomach. Without looking back, I simply opened the door and left the cannibalistic home. But no one here cares that I'm leaving, after all. I'm worthless in their eyes. Today is the last day. Vaguely, the world has begun to warm up. It's still springtime, and 20 to 30 degree weather is still acceptable for everyone. Tomorrow, though, the entire world will begin to heat up dramatically and, not surprisingly, will first break right through 40 degrees, then to 50 degrees, 60 degrees, and stabilized at 70 degrees. Almost as long as people are dying of the sun every day, like in a previous life, I was one of them. But now I'm in my cabin, with the air conditioning blowing and nibbling on my big pig's feet. Incidentally, I also put a live online stream on my living room TV. I turned on the TV, which was connected to the surveillance of Chen Sihu's house, the whole day 24 hours without stopping to record the bits and pieces of Chen Sihu. After all, I care about them too. I didn't expect to see them miss me so much once I opened it. Fuck, where the hell is that bitch Shin Qing? Going out for so long and not coming back, and asking my old lady to clean up again. Damn bitch, must be out fooling around with someone. When she comes back, see if I don't break her legs. Listening to Chen Sihu wanting me to be with someone else so badly, I can't let him down. A completely naked and uncovered type immediately transmitted to Chen Sihu's cell phone. Oops, Private Marseille, I sent you the wrong one. Chen Sihu took a look and was furious, and immediately called me over. But I'm sorry, the old lady is going to turn her cell phone off. I went to bed extra early that night. Maybe it's the smell of my mom in this house that makes this sleep extra peaceful for me. By the time I woke up, I could already see the bright sunshine of the sky outside through my insulated window. One look at my cell phone and it's no more, no less. It's just shy of 40 degrees Celsius. I opened the fridge and pulled out my big pork knuckle to continue nibbling on it, with a cold, refreshing glass of Sprite on the side, and life simply wasn't too wanton. However, it is natural for some to rejoice and others to be sad. I turned on the TV and continued to watch Chen Sihu and the others. In this weather today, it's almost impossible to get out of the house anymore. Even their feet could smell a roasted meat as soon as they touched the floor. Fuck. What kind of crap vegetables this bitch buys? They're all going to start going bad when the weather gets hot. I laughed indulgently, taking a bite of my potato chips and looking at Chen Sihu's predicament. The mother-in-law, however, could only let out a big sigh at this time and said, God damn it, so many dishes, it's all money, now it's all going to spoil. How to do It happened that Lu Jingjing came at this time, and she looked at Chen Sihu pitifully. Brother, it's too hot. I don't want to go out to buy food, can you share some with me? Chen Sihu took a look at Lu Jingjing and hurriedly picked the best batch for her. My mother-in-law was beside herself with displeasure, but could not say a word. It wasn't until Lu Jingjing left that the mother-in-law said, Are you nuts? There wasn't much good food to begin with, and now you've given it to her. What are we going to eat? What are we going to eat? Chen Sihu, however, said indifferently, What's wrong with that? Just let the bitch buy it back again. She can't still be fooling around outside on such a hot day. Seeing this, I turned my cell phone on and just received a call from Chen Sihu. What's up with your news yesterday, bitch? Did you cheat on me behind my back? I pressed my voice and sobbed. Honey, I didn't. I was just swiping and accidentally sent it to you. I think so. No one but me is blind to you. Chen Sihu's words were so disdainful that I couldn't help but chuckle lightly. Damn pussy. You get your ass back here right now and buy some more good wine and food. Otherwise you're going to get it, I sobbed. But honey, I don't have any money. I've been arrested by the innkeeper and she won't let me leave until I pay. Can you send me some money? When Chen Sihu heard this, he immediately felt that it was not to be. What kind of a night is that for me? Honey, I was wrong. Then can you come and save me? Don't even think about it. I think you're wasting money. So wash 2 more dishes for the boss and don't come back in debt. I thought it was funny and threw a plate back into the automatic dishwasher. There's no way around it. Having money is fully automatic and you don't need to move yourself. I continued to look at the screen, and my mother-in-law looked like she was going to be unable to take it anymore. Forget it, let's just let it be rotten. Put more salt and soy sauce on it, and the flavor will be overpowered. When I heard that, I couldn't help but think that my mother-in-law is really smart. I laughed a little. But it's good for them to eat so salty. My mother-in-law started tinkering in the kitchen. I'd been in charge of running things all these years, and she hadn't been in the kitchen in a while. Through the screen, I could see that the whole room now looked like a pandemonium. At this time, Chen Sihu gave me another call to come. You fucking pussy, you get your ass back here right now. I laughed. At this point, it's time to remember what I'm good for. But unfortunately, I'm in the middle of a good meal and don't have time for you. Until the next day, ate a night of salty vegetables. Chen Sihu to climb up to drink water. The results have been surprisingly the whole building water outage. Motherfucker, who stopped my water? I ate my sandwich while watching Chen Sihu dying and swearing. I thought of this moment from the moment I saw how snooty and salty he ate. Today's temperature, it's in the 50s. The water had begun to evaporate, and the water supply for the entire neighborhood was becoming seriously inadequate. Then I'll be merciful. I called Chen Sihu. Honey, how's it going over there? I said in a clipped voice. You fucking pussy, cough, talk so strong, cough. Are you out there eating and drinking good food? The more I listened to Chen Sihu's uncontrollable violent coughing, the more I realized that it was a pleasant song. Husband, wait. I'll continue with you after I've had a drink of water. I deliberately mentioned the word water. After all, the more he wants something, the more I'm going to make sure he doesn't get it. Where'd you get the water, bitch? Ahem, aren't you washing dishes for the hotel? Chen Sihu scolded me sternly. The more he said, the more excited he became. Instead, the more hoarse his voice became. Water from the faucet. Honey, don't we have water from the faucet? Chen Sihu's voice would have become hoarse by now. Cough, you, cough. You bring me back my fucking water right now or I'm going to kill you. Cough, cough. No, honey, it's too hot out here. I can't get out. Why don't you drive and pick me up? You want to fart eat. I hung up the phone right away again, and watched from the TV how impatient Chen Sihu looked when I hung up the phone. My mother-in-law came out at this time, but ginger is still hot. Again, with no water. My mother-in-law knew to nibble on a couple of leaves of vegetables, even though most of them had rotted beyond recognition. Mom, that bitch Shin Ching said there's water at the hotel. Why don't you go there? Bring back some water. Granny frowned at that. I'm not going on such a hot day. I'll nibble on the leaves here, and as for you, you can have it or leave it, or give it all to me. With that, my mother-in-law dragged another bucket of tap water out of the toilet. This is normally where I exist, just to worry about the day when I suddenly run out of water and can cope with it. However, this little bit of water wouldn't be enough for the two of them for 3 days. Mom, you didn't say there was water earlier, causing me to nibble on half a day's worth of vegetable leaves. Chen Sihu swallowed a big mouthful. His mother-in-law hastily patted him on the shoulder. Save your money, that's all that's left. At this time, Lu Jingjing leaned vulnerably against the door frame again. Brother, I want some water. Lu Jingjing's appearance, drops of sweat hanging over her face. The whole thing is the appearance of attracting people to have some thoughts. Coming, water is coming. Chen Sihu hurriedly served a cup and handed it to Lu Jingjing. I couldn't help but smile inside. It would have been hard enough for 2 people to use the bucket of water. Now that's 3 people with a bucket of water. They'll have to finish playing together, but I didn't expect Chen Sihu, this colorful embryo, dead to the end, actually still have not simple mind. Jingjing, after drinking our family's water, you will be our family's person. Chen Sihu fiercely pinched Lu Jingjing's waist. Lu Jingjing hummed softly, and Chen Sihu couldn't stop himself from lifting Lu Jingjing into the room. You're doing this in broad daylight, and you're not afraid of getting wasted. I sighed softly. They were still too full. On the contrary, it was her mother-in-law, who, at this moment, also had a look of disgust on her face. It's not as good as that dead bitch's, Granny muttered, but I have advanced surveillance here. I can hear even the smallest sound. By the time Chen Sihu came out, he was already covered in sweat. There was already a shortage of water, but he went on a spending spree, which is really reckless. He immediately brought half a bucket of water to Lu Jingjing. Jingjing, this water is for you. We'll continue next time. My mother-in-law took one look and immediately became angry. You give her the water. What are we going to drink? What are we going to drink? Chen Sihu held his breath and said angrily, Mom, Jingjing is a poor person. Shouldn't we help? The two argued for a long time before the mother-in-law agreed to pour 1/3 of the water to Lu Jingjing, but I didn't realize that just as the water thing was sorted out, the electricity was gone. These 60-degree days with no electricity are the equivalent of no air conditioning. At best, it's a sweat session. At worst, it's the start of a barbecue. Luckily, I have a rechargeable monitor with enough power to keep me watching the action for a few more days. Looking at this pitiful scene of theirs, I deliberately ran to the air conditioner, took a picture and beautifully posted it to my friends. A 60-degree day with 16-degree air conditioning is a match made in heaven. As soon as this circle of friends came out, Chen Sihu immediately had to blow up. He called me call after call, but I just hung out to dry. It's skincare time for the old lady, no time for his nonsense. I stick my cucumber on. It's times like these that need the most hydration. By the time I woke up from another sleep, it was time for another morning. By the end of the day, it had reached its hottest temperature outside, in the 70s, and this temperature will continue for about another month. However, it didn't affect me in any way. I have enough supplies to eat and drink well until this disaster is completely over, no problem. I brought a bowl of Chongqing noodles with a side order of copra and ate it with relish. As soon as I opened my phone, it was already 99 plus unread messages. Shenqing, get the fuck back here now. Shenqing, you dare not answer my calls. Shenqing, believe it or not, I'll divorce you. My eyes lit up straight away when I saw that last sentence. Called right away. Husband, you say divorce. From the TV, I saw Chen Sihu's reaction when he heard my words. Instantly the whole thing became arrogant. Yeah, if you don't fucking come back, I'll divorce you. I got excited and said, yes, go away. Chen Sihu felt surprised all of a sudden and frowned at the phone. Shenqing, I'm talking about divorce, if you get divorced. Who'll want you? I looked at him with contempt. Even if I was old, at least now I had money. Don't tell me I don't want to touch a man right now. Even if the old lady wants to touch it, grab it with your hand and spend the money. How many young handsome brothers will follow me? I gave a deliberate zip to eat my Chongqing noodles. Shenqing, are you fucking eating something? I'm going to make a video call with you. Let me see what the hell you've been doing out there, I said with difficulty. Forget it, I'm afraid you'll be sad to see it. You, Chen Sihu was furious and immediately hung up the phone and called me the video. I clicked answer, and all the scenes around me were immediately taken in by Chen Sihu. I looked at him in the video and smiled, taking another big inhale of my pasta and a bite of the scribble in the process. Ugh, honey, this tastes so average, I grimaced, and I just wanted the whole of Chen Sihu, who had seen my life at this time, to go into a frenzy. However, I didn't realize that the first thing the man did when he encountered something was actually, Mom, look at Shenqing. I barely managed to get a mouthful of salt water straight out of my mouth. The first thing a 30-year-old man does when things go wrong is still yell for his mom. What a total mama's boy. When my mother-in-law arrived, she was furious to see me eating and drinking. Fucking pussy, where did you go to eat? Do you know that your man is having a hard time at home right now? And you're still in the mood to go out? I blinked. Then I'll eat more and take your share for you. With that, I pulled out a chicken leg and bit into it. Granny, this meat is quite strong. If you can't eat it, I'll eat it for you. My mother-in-law was so angry that she just hung up on me. Ugh, I sighed softly. I hadn't even had enough fun yet. And then the phone was turned off for me. That's when I saw on TV Chen Sihu pushing and pulling his mother-in-law. Mom, Shenqing eats at the hotel. Why don't you go to the hotel? And if there's really something to eat, come back and take me there. The mother-in-law flung away her sleeve fiercely at the sound of it. Son of a bitch, it's 70 degrees outside, and you're letting an old lady like you go. Otherwise, Are we going to spend the rest of our lives at home gnawing on vegetable leaves? I laughed. Even if he wanted to chew on it, he probably wouldn't be able to for a few days. Soon half a month had passed. And the pail of water was finished by the 10th day, when they had been frugally drinking it. In fact, the community will still open the gate regularly to provide a little bit of water every day, and some electricity will also be supplied at regular intervals. After all, if there is no air conditioning every day in such a 70 degrees Celsius weather, it is expected that a piece of the population would have died long ago, but that's just enough for every day, for someone as pompous as Chun Sihu. That's totally inadequate. I looked at the video and the big bag of groceries was down to the last bite. There's only one last bite of food left. Granny said, "Mom, you're getting old. This bite is better for me." I didn't expect Chun Sihu to say such motherly and filial words. I'm guessing my mother-in-law is about to be pissed off by now. She angrily patted Chun Sihu's shoulder and cried, "If you hadn't given half of those dishes to that Lu Jingjing, and hadn't shared the water with her, we wouldn't be in such a sorry state right now at least." When Chun Sihu heard this, he was so angry that he yelled, "Mom, are you saying that I'm to blame for all of this? It's clearly Shin Qing's fault, that dead bitch, for going to eat well by herself and leaving us here." The mother-in-law frowned at this and said, "Right? Blame her." I fell back in front of the screen full of aggravation. How could a great guy like me end up blaming me again? In that case, I don't want to help them. I watched as Chun Sihu and my mother-in-law were completely out of food for the next few days, with only the water that was regularly supplied by the community every day. Luckily, there's water to drink, so you can't die. I watched the video and took a sip of lemonade. It was so sour. It wasn't until the 20th day that I decided to have a little mercy. I called Chun Sihu once again. Luckily this idiot knows how to fully charge his cell phone when the community has regular power. "Hey, bitch. You finally know how to make a fucking phone call." Chun Sihu opened his mouth with a tirade of abuse. I calmed myself and said, "Take it easy, honey, fuck you. I'm starving to death. I'm hungry." I paused deliberately and took another bite of my hand pie. I didn't suddenly remember that I still have some food left at home. "Do you want to go look for it?" Before Chun Sihu could respond, her mother-in-law immediately ran over as soon as she heard there was food. "Damn bitch. Where did you hide the food? Tell me." I was deliberately silent, listening to the endless tirade from across the room. It took a long time for me to say something. "I remember, last month, my mother-in-law killed a chicken and hid it under the bed, right?" I said, with a deliberate tone of uncertainty. In fact, I already knew that my mother-in-law had killed a chicken and secretly hid it again by herself. That was supposed to be for my mom's stew, but my mother-in-law volunteered to take it over. Later that chicken was not stewed for my mom, but my mother-in-law didn't dare to eat it openly in front of me, so she had to hide it secretly. My guess is that she would have gone after the chicken too. What she didn't realize, however, was that the chicken had been quietly taken away by me and hidden under her bed, letting my mother-in-law go to sleep smelling the chicken every day. I'm a great guy. When Chun Sihu heard this, he immediately hung up my phone and ran inside his mother-in-law's room looking for the chicken. "Mom, you're hiding a chicken." The mother-in-law rushed in after her. "Bullshit, that chicken is long gone." Although the surveillance couldn't capture the room, I could tell by listening to the commotion that it was pretty exciting in there. Obviously a pair of mother and son, in this moment is actually like enemies, and the reason for this is just for a chicken. It was a long time before the two walked out with half a chicken tugged by one of them. Chun Sihu grabbed the chicken head, while the mother-in-law tore away the chicken butt. I would have thought that in such trying times, these two would have been good enough to keep this chicken for 2 more days, or at least not be able to eat it all in one meal. Unexpectedly, Chun Sihu's hand is directly to the chicken salt-baked. It does smell good, however. He only scented one meal. In just one bite, he peeled off a chicken thigh, the grease still sticking to the corner of his mouth. I was almost shocked again. Through the screen, I gave him a shout-out. On the contrary, my mother-in-law, old as she is not at all confused at such times. She knew that if Chun Sihu ate it in one bite, he would come and eat hers later. She simply roasted and ate it straight away as well. "Alas, it's just a chicken. 2 people grabbed it like this," I helplessly said, looking at the cassoulet in front of me was really satisfying. I'm planning to have a chicken curry tonight. However, I looked at the power level of this monitor. While the community is occasionally powered, it's not enough batteries for surveillance. Looks like I won't be able to watch this good show for long. By the 25th day, on this day, Chen Sihut and his mother-in-law had been hungry for another 5 days. Fuck, if I had known that day, I wouldn't have eaten that chicken so fast, Chen Sihut said angrily. My mother-in-law could only sigh loudly. Who made you such a glutton? Now you know it's killing you, Mom. You too. Don't just talk about me. At this time, Lu Jingjing once again leaned on the door frame. She was still so pathetic, almost a Me Too kind of person. It seemed that those dishes that he had taken from Chen Sihu that time had also been almost finished by now. However, right now, even if she came, it was impossible for Chen Sihu to change anything for her. Instead, I can't help but feel a violent shudder in my heart at the thought. I don't even dare to continue thinking about it. I watched Chen Sihu on the screen, and as always, he reached out and pinched Lu Jingjing's hindquarters. Lu Jingjing's body trembled slightly before she habitually fell into Chen Sihu's arms. After all, once upon a time she had gotten so many supplies that way, but this time, Chen Sihu was tightly embracing Lu Jingjing's waist. His eyes were different from the former desire. This time the fervor in his eyes had a few more points of desire. Even the mother-in-law was looking at Lu Jingjing in the same way. Such a look made Lu Jingjing unavoidably afraid. Lu Jingjing's originally weak body rushed to run like it had strength at this moment, but indisputably, the monitor went dead at that very moment. I don't know exactly what happened back there, so I'll just have to wait until it's all over and take my time poking around. But there are only 5 days left. In 5 days, this heat apocalypse will be a month old, and it's almost time for it to end. It's said that even the snowy mountains of Antarctica have melted. Those who have survived this disaster are all thankful for God's mercy. I continued to lie down in my cabin, until the 5th day, when the temperature slowly began to drop. From 70 degrees Celsius it starts to slowly drop to 60 degrees Celsius, to 50 degrees Celsius, and then finally, back in the teens and 20s where spring is supposed to be. Such an extreme weather event was a great and heavy blow to all. When I came out of my hut, and saw that the sun was no longer blazing above me, I could not help but feel a sense of springtime happiness. That's when a policeman came up and found me. Hello, is this Ms. Shenqing? Yes, Mr. Policeman, what's wrong? I asked nervously. We'd like to know if Mr. Chen Sihu is your husband. As if I already had a guess in my mind, I nodded. Yes. Did something happen to Chen Sihu? Mr. Chen Sihu and his mother are suspected of malice murder, and have been arrested, so we've come to see you to find out what's going on, I hurriedly said. Mr. Policeman, I've been staying here for the past month. My mother just passed away last month, so I went back to where my mother and I used to live. Okay, we've got the basics then. I watched the police officers fading back and couldn't help but think about the malicious killing he was talking about. It is true that one should not put too much faith in human nature in the face of natural and man-made disasters, for that will only bring one to ruin. Now, it's hard to sink the case. But she's gone, unexpectedly. The police told me that Chen Sihu and my mother-in-law had been sent to the hospital, and the reason for that, in fact, is quite obvious. It's the consumption of so much rotten food, especially raw food, that the whole body is almost invaded by bacteria. It wasn't until I heard from them again that I had been informed by the police department to collect their bodies. It was only after Chen Sihu's death that I finally felt a sense of renewal. I donate all my food to help those affected by the heat. The effects of the post-apocalyptic heat are gradually fading, and people are beginning to return to their normal lives. At this point, the land I bought at the time was also starting to slowly appreciate in value. Especially in the wake of such a heat disaster, society is placing more and more emphasis on the structure and materials of housing, and investment in housing construction has increased dramatically. And my land has benefited from a huge increase in value, but, for me, I preferred to stay in the middle of my acreage with my mom. not only because it has been decorated by me in a way that can be described as luxurious, but also because it is in this place that I can truly feel that I am a living person, because it's in this room that I relive the hardest times I've ever had. I started learning to dress up. A woman in her 30s can be beautiful in her own way, gradually. I am no longer the yellow-faced woman that Chin Si-hoot said I was, but an elegant lady who is asked for WeChat when I walk down the street. A lot of people around me are also starting to come and introduce me to some big, young, ambitious brothers with great careers. However, none of these comings and goings seem to be able to walk into my eyes. Maybe it's because I'm becoming more independent now. I will create a deep love persona for myself when necessary, from time to time. I remember my late husband. After all, I wouldn't be where I am without him.